Today, are you enjoying God of War Sons of Sparta? Too bad, David Jaffe says you're wrong. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, recorded during the women's gold medal hockey game. And the last time we tried this, we had to repeatedly stop recording because of people driving past the studio and honking.
This time, either we lose, or this newer studio soundproofing will dampen all jubilance.
So really, I'm not sure why we brought it up at all. I promise you we're not here to dunk on Highguard. Goodness knows that's going to be a year's worth of bread and butter for dozens of just the most exhausting YouTubers. But you ought to know how things are going, because it's not great. It seemed like it was all going to work out. An independent studio made up largely, at least as far as marketing said, by developers formerly of Titanfall and Apex Legends, and fully funded, so not beholden to a major publisher. But Highguard's prominent trailer at Jeffrey Keighley's Wheelie Dealy, introduced by effusive praise from Jeff himself, elicited the reaction of, do we really need another generic free-to-play hero shooter in this year of our Parton 2025? Turns out, even though the game is apparently fine and shows promise, no, we did not need it, as sweeping layoffs hit a majority of the Wildlight Entertainment team only 2 weeks after the game launched. Earlier this week, the Highguard website went down, leading to some justifiable concern for what players the game does still have. But according to one of the not laid-off devs, it's just being migrated and downsized, but also there's no timeline for doing that because reputational damage has already been done. This is their words, not mine, but also mine, I guess. And in one potentially final twist, it's been reported by Stephen Totillo at GameFile that Wildlight's status as a fully funded company was due to financial backing from Tencent, of all people. This finally explains a few things. Obviously, where Wildlight got all this money, but also why they laid people off so quickly. Tencent is ruthless, and they do not care. If a project looks like it might hemorrhage money, they've got other projects that are profitable, so they're going to cut that off pretty quickly. It also explains why Highguard got the coveted final trailer placement at the Game Awards, but not, I say, addressing the aforementioned exhausting YouTubers, because Tencent is on the Game Awards advisory board. Ooh. Also on the board are Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Valve, Microsoft, Riot, Nintendo, Apple, Sony, Rockstar, Google, Epic, AMD, and Hideo Kojima. So I stress again, it's not a conspiracy, it's actually super simple. They got that spot because Tencent has more money than God, and they just paid to have that trailer placement. Oh, but surely Jeff's hype was influenced by them? That I can't answer, but for all the ribbing we give Jeff, I think the most insulting thing I can say about him is he actually is the kind of dork that would love Highguard.
Sony Santa Monica and Megacat Studios announced and then immediately released, or shadow dropped, their new game Sons of Sparta at the Sony State of Play last Thursday to very mixed reviews. The game is a surprise new addition to the God of War franchise with several key differences. Unlike previous God of War titles, it's not a 3D action-adventure, but a 2D Metroidvania. Instead of seeking revenge upon a god across various planes of existence, we play as young Kratos, quote, during his harsh training at the Agoge alongside his brother Deimos. And instead of being super jazzed to see more Kratos, OG God of War director David Jaffe absolutely hates it and treated us all to a 9-minute YouTube crash out. Jaffe starts by echoing a statement that many gamers agree with. The concept of a 2D Metroidvania God of War slaps, and God of War fans will eat that up. Which fans are. There's a pretty thick subreddit that mostly approves of the game, written by people who have played it. Jaffe even submits that the gameplay is, quote, serviceable. His main complaint is that the Kratos character isn't Kratos enough, or really anything enough. The standard issue head shave and standard issue tunic just says standard issue Greek soldier. This guy doesn't feel like the Kratos we know and love because, well, they aren't that person yet. Though Jaffe calls out the Sons of Sparta Kratos enough for being a generic kid that we can't really tell if he's speaking as a franchise fan or as a devastated parent. It also definitely wasn't gory enough for Jaffe. He cites slain and blasphemous as examples for the tone he expected, instead of what felt to him more like My Dinner with Kratos and less John Wick. Finally, the $30 price point really chapped his ass for what seemed to him like a game not as well produced as, for example, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, Neon Inferno, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. His final opinion is that no one should buy this game. And unfortunately, a modest swath of people who did buy it soon formed that opinion as well. On Friday morning, one day after launch, Santa Monica Studios clarified on Twitter that the co-op mode is only available after you've completed the main story. Ugh. The diehard gamers who were initially into it revolted at the weird gatekeeping. The game's aesthetic is retro, and the game's design is retro, so I guess this feature is kind of retro too, but the brutal truth about collective nostalgia is that everyone wants to remember the 80s hair and the 70s pants, and no one wants to remember sitting through the same 4 TV ads 3 times in a half hour so you could spend 23 minutes watching X-Men. Just let the kids play couch co-op now, hipster game designers!
AI continues to ruin everything this week, this time by sucking up Western Digital and Seagate's entire 2026 production of hard drives. This, combined with already skyrocketing costs and limited availability for RAM and GPUs, makes the not really but functionally totally mandatory home computer a lot more expensive. But surely this only affects PCs, right? Sorry. Due to hardware price or availability, Sony is discussing delaying the PS6 until 2028 or 2029. Valve has sold out of Steam Decks and is delaying the launch of the Steam Machine. And Microsoft is increasing the Japanese and Australian prices of the ROG Xbox Ally X. What if AI has done the only thing that it really can do? Maybe the only thing a computer is actually good for, drawing a line of best fit. Evaluating past behaviors, it saw Calamity on the horizon, Marathon, Control Resonant, Dawn of War 4, GTA 6, that new chapter of the Final Fantasy remake that everyone's cranks hog to, with hundreds of amazing-looking titles. 2026 would have been a great year for video games, and it had to be stopped. Why? The inscrutable mind of the Indifference Engine is not for us mortals to comprehend. Maybe you're smart and bought your gaming rig in 2023 and you're set for the next few years. Hope you like single player, because the rest of us are going to have a lot of time to take up new hobbies. Unfortunately, as the world's biggest piece of shit recently pointed out, everything is computer. Reading? Well, we need computers to produce, ship, and sell books. Cooking? Have you tried to buy a kitchen appliance recently? They all have integrated computers, which is fine because the tractors that we use to grow food are all computer too. Everything is computer. Grief eating? Burrito taxi is computer. Using a motor vehicle? Computer. Taking up home renovations. If that isn't computer, you'd best hope your hospital is. Every supply chain on Earth? Computer. In Canada, even buying weed is now computer. And even if it wasn't, getting cash to pay your dealer is absolutely computer. Getting conscripted into the water wars? That will definitely be computer. Who do you think gets the water? Hyperbole. Computer. Let's try a fun game. From the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, keep track of every time you use or interact with a computer. And then ask yourself what happens when it breaks and can't be replaced. The only silver lining to this is that the one thing that sure as shit is computer is using AI.
Nintendo and Hatchimals have teamed up to deliver a new toy just in time for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's Hatchin' Yoshi, a fun interactive toy featuring a Yoshi that sits on your bookshelf and makes noises while you poke at it. I love $50 plastic, so I thought I'd give you my pros and cons about it. Before we begin, let's tap the sign. Excellent! First up, look at the design. A very believable Yoshi Egg. When you interact with it, it wiggles around until the Yoshi inside delivers the first pip. But then there's the problem with the hatching itself. It's clear from the video that once the egg hatches, Yoshi is not covered in any kind of residue or leftover albumin, when it's clear that Nintendo fans largely consider the process to be a slimier birth, akin to actual dinosaur hatching. Both Yoshi and the egg are big and well detailed. However, the egg is too large to be birthed comfortably by most people, which is an oversight for reasons all of us at CheckPoint won't get into here. The fun part is you get to be involved, as Yoshi can't move enough to hatch the whole egg, so you get to assist by peeling the egg apart. Sadly, the video doesn't show you how to reassemble the egg to experience over and over the wonder of Yoshi's birth, or indeed any other small animals you have conveniently at hand. When asked for comment last night, Benjamin Wheeler stated, "Hey, Beej, maybe the toy is normal and you're the freak." More on this as it develops.
Speaking of, are you proud of what you've birthed today?
Look, the reason I cover things like this is because I know our audience. If you saw the kind of emails I have in my sent folder, you'd be surprised.
Sorry, did you mean inbox?
Shit, what did I say? Coming up, The setting for Silent Hill Townfall is inspired by the small Scottish seaside town of St. Manans. The game finds its horror in the gloomy, foggy setting, and not from the things the Scottish will deep fry and still call food.
Yeah, I get absolutely dunked on, Scotland.
Please come back.
I have, on more than one occasion, had and enjoyed haggis.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just sausage.
I have also, on occasion, had haggis.
Oh, well, I guess mine was better than yours.
Mine was probably pretty good. I'm not a fan of organ meats, so I kind of just
couldn't taste it.
Fell off. Oh, yeah. They served it also alongside steak and kidney pie, and I was just like, man, I don't
like kidney.
I'm having a very hard meal, and neeps, because it was neeps and tatties. It was Robbie Burns night.
Oh, okay.
So scored a haggis and whatever, and then it's like, and then steak and kidney pie. I'm like, and it's like, and then neeps and tatties. And I'm like, what is that again? It's like, it's potatoes and turnips. I'm like, I'm gonna have a very, very lean night. Oh, look, green beans. Well, we can make that work.
Well, you know who's having a lean year? The video game industry. Yeah. We found, just before going live, we found out that Blue Point was being shut down. And I'm so mad.
Yeah.
Blue Point made the Demon's Souls remake for PS5, which was great. Mm-hmm. And then Sony was like, we're going to buy you.
Yeah.
You're going to become a Sony first-party developer. And
everybody got very excited.
Everyone was like, oh, cool. Bloodborne, obviously. And then we found out, like, some months ago that they'd actually been working on some kind of live service God of War game that got canceled because someone was... There wasn't anyone smart enough to stop that from happening initially, but there was someone smart enough to stop it happening before it was released. But then everyone was like, oh, but what about Blue Point? And today they're just like, we'd shut the whole thing down.
We should just shut them down.
It's like, what? Why?
You're right. What about Blue Point?
Why not have them do something that they're good at instead of that?
I think there's a dark covenant. There's some sort of agreement that Sony made about Bloodborne where From was like, okay, we will make you an exclusive platform but you can never release it for any other platform. And Sony was like, yes, and just signed the thing as fast as they could, which was good because Bloodborne, was gangbusters.
Yeah.
And now they are hard locked into hearing this bitching for the end of time. It was the Faustian bargain.
Probably.
How very appropriate.
Yeah. Let's see. Who did stories this week?
Cameron.
Cameron wrote the AI story.
Shocker.
Yeah. I just the fact that we're not even through February, and Western Digital and Seagate were like, "Yep, we're out of drives for this year."
I went looking horrific. I went looking for not because I went looking, but I was looking through my email, and it's like, oh look, Western Digital black SSD 2 terabytes, and I'm like, what can that possibly cost? $10? And it was like, was it $300? And that was the sale price down from like $500 because they were like, we're doing a really good sale. I'm like, you are. That's an amazing discount, but Jesus Christ,
Yikes.
Maybe it was $600. It was just so much money that I kind of just balked. Like, I'm not even going to buy that, but I just went a little bit and it was just
Also, as a point of reference, those two companies represent approximately 85% of the market for hard
storage. Yeah. For all storage.
Nelson wrote the God of War story, which it's got to be so sad to be a developer working at that game and like a former developer who started the franchise that you're working on has now become one of those YouTubers that I referenced in the other story, because that was his actual YouTube thumbnail with like the AI rendering of like man with like steam coming out of his ears.
Man gets angry at keyboard.
And the like total crap, and then it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you like this?
Why even get involved at this point?
And so I wrote the Highguard story which again, I think it's very funny when these YouTubers are like, oh, we've caught them, and it's like, no, it's not a conspiracy theory. They didn't get final trailer placement because they're on the advisory board. Lots of places are on the advisory board. The advisory board doesn't decide what gets aired on the show.
Right.
What gets aired on the show is whoever pays the most money.
Yeah.
And Tencent paid the money. They just bought the time because they have all the money.
And that's how...
It's not a secret. It's not a backroom deal. They just have lots of money.
Because that's how they need to afford to make the Game Awards thing in the first place. They need the money to do it.
Exactly. It's so much more boring and obvious than I'm like, oh, we figured it out. No.
I mean, maybe you can also buy your way onto the advisory board. What do I know? Or maybe you can just, if you're best friends with
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley, you
Yeah.
can also, or if he considers you his best friend in the world, maybe that's how you also get on there too.
I want to see Kermit on the advisory board.
Nelson wrote the story about Sons of Sparta,
Yeah.
which in the little brief bits that I saw, I'm like, oh yeah, your bog standard 2D Metroidvania. It's probably a gas to play, like, you know,
Looks fun.
That's the thing. It's like, this will probably just be a fun thing to play. You know, hey, go to your local library and pick it up when it arrives, I guess. I don't know.
And to the further shock of no one,
It was weird. This like anonymous story came in from nowhere about this weird Hatch and Yoshi thing. Nobody would put their name on it. Had completely no idea who might have written it. But I decided that I said, you know what, I will put my head on the block and I will take
you'll read it.
I'll take the gas for it. That's fine. So it was fun.
Who's actually making it?
Hatchimals.
Huh.
Their stock in trade is making, here is a thing, here's part of the toy that you must break and then maybe throw
And then
away.
discard.
I guess. I don't really know what you do with it. And the thing inside is the actual thing that you want. But because the element is, this is like Zuru did these Hatchimal type things as well, right? But Hatchimals is the company that does this. And it's the thing of like, I buy this thing and then I like break all the things apart and I excavate and I do whatever and then I have all the stuff from it. And then what do you do with all that tat? And it's like, oh, then I put it aside so then I can go buy another one. And that's the thing that I've never quite understood is I'm like, when I would get the egg for the toys I used to get, this old man yells at Cloud, the egg for the toys I used to get was the fucking box. And you opened the box and you pulled out the transformer. You're like, this thing rules and I do not need this, which was a mistake because after all, if you still have the boxes for all your old Gen 1 Transformers, you could make a fucking mint off of just those.
Well, I have neither of those things.
Yeah, I
I
know.
do remember when I was a kid, though, there was, I don't remember what.
GoBots.
No, I'm making up something like trash bag battlers or something.
Yeah.
And it was the same sort of thing where it's like they come in like a little trash bag that you dissolve, like you put it in water and it goes like, and then it's like a blind box thing.
Right.
Then you get the thing on the inside, but you only get to do that once.
Yes.
And then you just have this piece of shit. Toy.
Yes.
Right? And it's like you only get to, with the same with Hatchimals. You only get to Hatchimal once, and then you just have the thing.
Yeah, and you just get the whatever it is that's inside, and the toy companies get to sit back and smoke cigars and laugh cruelly about how much they hate the world and they love polluting it with plastic.
And as you pointed out, it's so big you cannot possibly birth it yourself.
No,
which
exactly.
Is like, what even is the point?
Which is weird because I'm like, when I thought about it, I'm like, actually, women have been pushing out things this size for generations. Mm-hmm. So I imagine with a little effort. Put in some fucking effort. That's all I'm saying. No, I mean, watching the video where they're peeling the egg pieces off, that was the worst part for me because I'm like, no, you're breaking the thing that's part of the thing. And I felt really bad because I'm like, you can't put it back together because you can kind of see that it doesn't really go back together. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. I hate this feeling of I have to break my toy to get into it. So anyway. All this shit is brought to you by you. And actually, we need to mention what's going on this week.
Oh yeah, right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Thank you.
Yes.
The PPR is tomorrow. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pre-release airing on Twitch and YouTube at Loading Ready Run. It's your first look at Ninja Turtles gameplay from the new set. I know that I've said this before that like there's an amount of like universes beyond pushback, which I think is justified, and we are returning to Magic's favorite plane of New York, but. I don't know. I opened my pre-release kit and my deck looks like a lot of fun. So like, I think the actual gameplay, at least the sealed gameplay, is going to be sweet, and you should tune in for it.
Nice.
I would appreciate it if you would tune in for it.
Yeah.
And then store.
Yeah. That's a good one too. Let's talk about that.
The new merchandise.
Yeah, store.loadingreadyrun.com. The panelist is already launched, and we have launched a panelist mug to go with it. So if you want to have, a mug on your table, not these, we're sold out of these, but you can now have a panelist mug. They're ready and waiting for you to go purchase. And then also the Loading Ready Run toque and scarf, which we also can't show you because those are currently still technically under pre-order, and we haven't received any samples or anything yet. So you might end up getting yours before we get ours, which is also kind of fun.
A toque is what Canadians or anyone else who knows what they're talking about refers to a knitted hat.
Yes.
You may call it a beanie where you are from.
Yes, which
That's
is
not
weird.
what they're called, because a beanie is a little thing with a propeller on the top.
Correct.
That's a beanie.
That's a beanie, yes.
This is why we have different words for things. Mm-hmm. Having said that, please order one.
Yes. It's what you might call it's if you're having a trouble kind of understanding what that is. It's what you might think of as like an elongated Kangol or Kangolated.
A toque or long Kangol.
Mm-hmm. Also, you can support all the nonsense we do
At Patreon, at patreon.com/loadingready runner, becoming a member on this YouTube channel, and member shoutouts coming up at the end of the video.
That's all. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Nintendo and Hatchimals.
sorry,
And that's the wrong image. It's okay. It's a surprise for the end, folks, and you'll see it in a couple seconds.
Nintendo, pictured here.
Yes.
Welcome to CheckPoint.